Hello, hi, I'm Lawrence Rees, and welcome to your next lesson on political participation in the USA. Now, how the US election actually works, if you want to use this YouTube link here, you'll be able to see more details. It's just a really simple video to show how the US election actually works. Now, the US election, when people are voting in the US election, each state has something known as Electoral College votes. Now, Electoral College votes are allocated to each state. Now, in total, there's 538 Electoral College votes that are up for grabs. Now, to win the US election, the candidate needs to win 270 out of 538 to win the presidency, because that obviously is over half. Now, this diagram here just shows you the size of electoral votes per state. So ultimately, it goes on the population of the states. So the bigger the population of the state, then the more Electoral College votes that they get. So this video here just explains really briefly how the US election actually works. Now, it's not essential for you to know this for your essay for this section, but it's just a good bit of background for you. This slide here just gives you an overview of the 2020 US election. Now, underneath it says Electoral College. What is the Electoral College? So as I just mentioned there, in the US election, Americans vote for candidates called electors in their state who are supporting the candidate they want to become president. And this process is called the Electoral College. The more people who live in a state, the more electors that are for the state. So California, for example, with a population of 38.8 million, has 55 Electoral College votes, whereas Delaware, which only has a population of 936,000, has just 3 votes. Now, there's currently 538 electors in total, corresponding to the 435 representatives, so congressmen and women, and 100 senators, plus the 3 additional electors from the District of Columbia. Now, the Constitution prohibits any federal official elected or appointed from being an elector. Now, the candidate with the most electors wins all the state's Electoral College votes, and the first candidate to win enough states to get to 270 Electoral College votes wins and becomes president. Now, this slide here, as I said, just talks you through some of the key points from the presidential race. You've got here 5 reasons why Joe Biden won the US election. You've got a bit on voting trends across the USA. Donald Trump, you'll have seen he's been in the news recently about refusing to accept the decision. Joe Biden has now just been sworn in as president, but Trump did gain over 70 million votes, which shows he does still have a lot of support, particularly within the Republican Party as well. So we'll need to see what happens in the future with that. What does Joe Biden mean for Brexit for us in the UK? Well, Joe Biden was very much in support of Britain being part of the EU, so his views on us leaving the EU could impact our trade with the US, so we'll just need to see what happens there. And you've also got a wee bit there on the MVP of the 2020 election, so that is Stacey Abrams. So if you Google her, you'll find out despite her losing her governor race in Georgia in 2018, she made it her mission to make sure that more people were registered to vote, especially African Americans were registered to vote. And apparently her work is one of the major factors in terms of why Joe Biden won the US election. Now, what we're focusing on is the ability to influence government decision making, so how people participate in the political process. Now, in the USA, the ways that people can participate in the political process, there's different ways that they can do this. They can stand as a candidate in elections, so obviously the image you have there is Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, so you can stand as a candidate. You can vote, obviously, in elections, and there's other, it's not just the presidential elections, there's state elections that you can vote in as well. You can join a political party. In the US, ultimately it's 2 parties that dominate, the Republicans and the Democrats, but you can join a political party. You can protest, and we've seen this in the news quite recently with the Black Lives Matter movement. And you can also join an interest group, is another way that you can participate in the political process. One of the most famous interest groups in the USA is one called the NRA, which is the National Rifle Association. You can also engage in politics in the USA through social media as well. Now, for activity 3, what we like to do is to take the heading political participation and take the subheading ability to influence government decision making. Now, what you're looking to do is select 3 or 4 ways that the US citizens can influence government decision making. And I'd like you to note these down your jotter using the point, explain, example, analysis format. Now, you have an example here done for you which you could use. So the point, Americans can participate by voting for candidates in elections. You'd explain that, so people in the USA have many opportunities to vote for someone to be elected to a position of power in US society. There could be as many as 30 different roles to vote for, such as the local sheriff or the state senator. Example, in 2020, millions of people made the choice on if they wanted to vote for Donald Trump as president. This shows citizens in the USA have the chance to vote for who they want in positions of power and can influence government decision making because they're ultimately deciding who goes into power. Now this is the page in the booklet that you need to use for this, so you have various ways that citizens can influence government decision making. So again, if you look to note this down in the point explain example analysis format. So you may want to pause the video at this point to do this activity. The next part of this is limits to influencing government decision making. So how can we be limited in our influence over government? So what obstacles is there in the USA for citizens participating in the political process? Now for this part, if you look at activity 4 in the booklets and take the heading limits to influencing government decision making. Now using the arguments you selected for activity 3, we're looking for you to select 3 or 4 points which could be used as your rebuttal. So note these down your jotter using again the point explain example analysis format. So for example, you may have had in your answer to activity 3 how some groups in the USA can vote. Well, this point could be in the USA some groups are unable to vote. You'd explain that, so that can be due to a variety of reasons such as being prevented from being able to vote. For example, convicted criminals and ethnic minorities struggle to vote. And analysis that shows that certain groups struggle to register to vote or take part in politics, which limits their ability to influence government's decisions. And these are the pages in your booklets that you need to be looking for here. The next activity, activity 5, you've looked at different ways that the people of the USA can participate in politics. Now it's asking you here, do you feel, having learned about the above, that the USA could be described as democratic? Or do you feel that major improvements need to be made? Now, if you look at this picture here, this is the state of democracy across the world from 2019, so it's colour coded. Now on the left hand side there you'll see full democracies where it says 9 to 10, so they're coloured in like a navy colour, showing that they are very, very democratic countries. Now the USA is rated from 8 to 8.99. You'll see that there on the left hand side, showing that USA is fairly democratic. Not the most democratic country in the world, but fairly democratic. And you have obviously other countries colour coded across the world there, showing how democratic they actually are. Now it's up to you to decide how democratic do you think USA is. I would argue USA is quite similar to UK in terms of its democracy and what people are allowed to do in the USA. They do still have a lot of freedoms, as you've seen when you've looked at the political process. They do get to vote in elections. Citizens in the USA do get to protest. They can join interest groups. So you could argue it is quite democratic, but you may also argue that there are limits in the USA, such as the fact there's only really 2 major political parties to choose from. The next thing that you're going to do is you're now going to be asked to watch 2 documentaries related to political participation. Now while watching each documentary, your aim is to write 3 points for each about what the documentaries are showing us in terms of how people participate in politics in the USA. The first documentary that you're going to watch is a panorama which only lasts 30 minutes, and it's titled Can Biden Unite America? So after his historic victory, we're looking at the fact that America is quite a divided country now, and how people in the USA are having their voices heard and looking to hear or get their point across about how they feel about the US election result. And you've got the link to this documentary at the top here, and you can access that via BBC iPlayer. The second documentary that you're looking to watch is Black Power, America's Armed Resistance. So this documentary here focuses a bit more on interest groups and pressure groups in the USA. So again, you're looking to take notes on how they conduct themselves in the USA and how they allow people to participate in this part of the political process in the USA. Now what you're looking to upload via Teams for this week, again, if you've done this in your jot or online paper, you can just upload a picture of your work, or you may have done this on a Word document. So you're looking to upload activity 3, ways that US citizens can participate in politics. Activity 4, limits to US citizens' political participation. Activity 5, how democratic you think the USA is, your own opinion, and then notes from the 2 documentaries. Again, if you have any questions at all, then please just get in touch with myself or Miss McAnally. Again, we're not expecting you to do all this just in one sitting. This has been given to you on Monday, and you have the week to complete this. Thank you.